Oh, thanks, Tom. Okay, we have a good crowd today. I probably can't get through the whole list, but Bill, Timothy, Frank, Bob, Stephen, Helen, Lynn, Susan, Kathy, Linda, right? Surprise. Larry, Chuck, and Tom. So we got a good crew today. Are there any, there are a couple of announcements I know we need to make. The first one concerns the exhibit coming up. I want to clarify that the hours to bring your stuff are 10 to noon. Have to be here by noon. If you can't be there that day before Easter, just holler at Lynn or me and we'll get your photo, and you won't need to be here to deliver anything on Saturday. If you can put a wire on the back of your photos, that's the easiest way for us to hang them. If there's something a little different, then we'll experiment with it maybe at the next meeting to make sure that the hanging system will work. Lynn, did I forget anything?
No, hopefully they'll get here before noon, because we like to be finished.
Yeah, the earlier the better. The earlier the better.
Hey, Mike, what about
Yes.
the description? Do you want that early on, or how do you want that?
Oh, crap.
I had this. I don't know that we need.
I said that, what about the descriptions that you typed?
Yeah, I'll be scrambling on Saturday afternoon to make labels. So if I have the content for the label, your name, title of the photograph, and we'll send out a template with the next minutes. But the only other thing that's been going on the label is a statement: contact photographer for how was it worded, Lynn? To purchase, contact artist, I think, something like that. It's okay to sell the prints, but we just can't put a price on them up front. So.
And if you do sell something, 15% of it goes to the church.
Yeah. And I know Bill sold at least one last time, so it does happen.
Was this a change? Had we said 10 to 2 last time?
No, it was 10 to noon.
Right, I put that in the minutes, so I better point that out. I did, okay, I'll point out it's 10 to noon.
Everybody that submitted photos this time, I may have missed one or two, but I was trying to include that clarification when I verified I'd received your.
And if we could have one or two people that would help hang that day.
Yeah, that would be helpful too.
Your battery's gone.
Okay.
So do you need any help hanging the photographs? Or
Yeah, absolutely. If you can hang around.
that day?
Yeah, that day.
So you, okay, so ahead of time, you're gonna get descriptions from us.
Yeah, if you can, and I have to hand print them if I don't have them in advance.
You'll send out something so in advance we can.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anything we can bring if we're gonna help hang?
Do you, or just show up and?
Just show up, yeah,
Okay.
just, and it may, you know, it may be too many cooks in the kitchen, I don't know, but, we've got to sort them out, and and that reminds me, there was one other thing, I wanted to mention. There are a couple of different ideas about how to hang an exhibit, according to my limited experience. Some people mix up the artists so that there's one of mine over there and one of mine in the back and one up in the front. Sometimes people do it all by color. Another way of doing it is to hang everybody's photos, each person's photos together. So each one of us would have a slot on a wall, rather than just spread out throughout the whole room. Any thoughts on that method compared to a more random hanging? Timothy, go ahead.
Sorry for the glasses, your backlight's killing me. I think grouping by photographer is the best way to go, just because that, you know, the people who are viewing it don't have to remember who and what they liked, and then it gives them an opportunity to kind of see your style, than to see one and then see a bunch of stuff and then go, oh, yeah, that's the guy that does the goats or whatever.
Yeah.
So I that's just my 2 cents.
Well, there were apparently some people at the last exhibit that were wondering why it wasn't done that way last time. So turn in more than one photo, and then we can group.
So we're limited to 4.
Yep, 4.
Is there a size restriction?
No. Now, if you were Nancy Ann
No.
or Sarah Graham, you would put one and it would take up a whole
Yeah,
wall.
I
So, but I doubt, unless you have a huge mural.
I think my biggest one is probably going to be 20 by 30.
Yeah, that's good.
Were you also saying that there might be like a box in case, like I know I'm having a bunch of photos, Matt, and then I'll decide which one I'm gonna use, but did you say something like there might be a box that people can?
Well, I have canvas art bins, and I think I have 4, maybe 5, and I can bring some of those.
I mean, I don't know if anybody else is interested, I don't know.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it. I have some mounted that I was gonna put plastic sleeves on. So I was thinking about that too.
yeah. If you have a sleeve to put over them, that's fine. My mic will pick me up, I think.
I know, it'll pick you up. What was I gonna say?
If you have a sleeve to put the print in, that's fine. But I've seen them in bins where they were not in sleeves.
I think the only time probably to use those would be the day we have a reception,
Yeah,
which is another thing we need to figure out, is what Saturday afternoon in April or May we want to do that.
yeah. And I meant to say that as well, that we can't just leave prints in a bin when we're not here.
No.
But it would give people that are coming in a chance to see more of your stuff, if you want to do it. I'll bring the bins, fill them up, that'd be great.
Well, that's good to know, because when you get them developed, no, you don't use the word developed.
Process.
When you get them processed.
Well, in case of Timothy, it's likely to be printed or
But
developed.
so would be better off getting, let's say, 3 of one. Assuming that you could sell 2.
Sure. Duplicates.
Yeah, because they're so inexpensive. I mean, the shipping costs are more than the
Yeah.
processing fee, so.
Unless you wait for a deal.
MPix has usually sales, but.
Yeah, MPix is having a 25% off through tomorrow. And they just announced it yesterday,
Oh, well, that's just,
so they don't give you much time.
anyway, they're not very expensive. Shipping's $10 for everything, so.
So I'm looking at the church calendar for Saturdays for April and May. And it appears that for April, every Saturday at 2:00, there's something going on. If we get to May, there's some recital that begins at 4. The 11th, there's a wedding. The 18th is another recital at 4. I don't think we want to wait till the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we want to do. I guess I need to talk to the pastor about it. Or,
What about a Sunday afternoon?
well, let's go back to April. Well, the youth group starts at 3. I imagine that's every Sunday.
Maybe when they have the concert at 4, we can start the reception at noon or something like that.
Yeah. Or
I mean, is there a concert in here, or,
Oh, no, I'm sure it's in the sanctuary.
I don't know, that's just a thought.
Or, it's at.
Yeah, Kathy, I agree that maybe that there's something else going on around us. We might get some people that would come in.
So, I don't know, 1 to 3, or if they allow us 1 to 4. I don't,
What date is that?
What day is that?
well, the 11th of May is out, so I would think the earliest in May that we could would be the 4th. And there's a senior recital at 4 o'clock. It is a private event. So if we did 1 to 3, 12 to 2, any thoughts?
12 to 2 may be
I don't think
better.
we want to do evening, do we? And it's late. Let's say that fast a few times. Light.
Somebody make an executive decision.
I'll check with the powers that be and let you know.
So May 4th is your
That would be
perspective.
my pick. I don't want to have it be at the very end.
I'll be away on the 11th, and you said that was.
That is a
out
wedding
anyway.
that day, so,
Oh, wedding, okay.
so the 4th might be the
Yeah.
best, but I'll check with staff and find out.
Okay. Well, we have another meeting before the day this stuff is going to get hung. So there may still be some, and please don't hesitate to holler at me, phone, email, text message, whatever, if there's something that comes up that maybe I could help with. So, okay. We've had, as another announcement, and I'm just going to run through this, we've had a couple of people that we do not know, I think, asked to join us on Facebook. They have to get clearance from Bill or me before they can post. They can look at our stuff, but they can't post unless they're a member. Does anybody know a woman named Jennifer Mathena? Okay. She seems to meet the criteria. I do not have an email address for her right now, but Helen, I'll pass that along if she gives it to me. And Bill and I are laughing because I think he knows where I'm going. There's another young woman that wishes to join that I already denied.
If you ever heard the word pig butchering, that's exactly what it is.
Her profile picture, the cleavage would go down to her navel, except that there is a swipe up.
Means Tinder.
So,
And one of her friends, you don't want to go there.
but I wanted to check to see if anybody knew the Mathena, whatever her name was. Helen, do you want to say any, I was going to talk to you earlier about this, but I didn't get to it. Short spiel on EXIF data?
Before I do that, it reminds me of when we're talking about Facebook, who is Data Bean?
Yeah.
It is what?
It looks like a beta symbol and then bean.
Oh.
That person posts.
He is a guy that does an awful lot of stuff around Jordan Lake, but not just Jordan Lake. Bill, have you ever met him?
No.
I've not met him either, but, and I'm not sure back when, how he was vetted. I think some people have found a sly way into the fold. But he's a really good photographer, and I've texted with him, commented on his photos, but he's a local guy. He would qualify if he would come to meetings, I think.
And what about Leatherberry?
Several of us know him. I would have approved him after checking, but one day it just showed up. And did you approve him?
Yeah.
And I think that was
From you.
well, Bill knows him, Frank knows him, I know him, Lynn knows him. And I hope that he starts coming to meetings. But that's going to be the litmus test.
Letter, and I will do that today.
Okay.
We'll go on and try to get him in there.
Yeah.
The other thing that I just kind of wanted to run by the group is, I don't know when we did this, but about a year ago, we talked about what our goal is, which is for each of us to learn something. And we emphasized a way of presenting our photos, saying why we took it, how we took it, which would be the exit data, and then what we thought were successes and what we thought were problems and issues with the photograph. I think we've kind of gotten away from that, and perhaps it just isn't as good a learning experience as it was when we were doing that. I don't know how you guys feel about that. You may be comfortable with what we're doing, but I know personally, although I can't stand to be criticized, I do want to be critiqued, I guess is what I'm saying. There's a subtle difference, and some of the old members I know got some pretty tough critiquing or criticizing in the past, and I think we're all the older folks.
So you know of incidents of hurt feelings, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so, but this was pretty, wasn't harsh, but it was continuous and tiresome, I'll put it that way, so it wasn't
Yeah.
it was constructive.
But also harmful.
I sometimes felt like it was a little harsh.
Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna use that word. I'm using a harsh word, harsh.
Well, and that's,
I mean, part of the hesitation I have about making any comments about, if I see an image and I think I would have done it differently, I was like, well, who am I? I'm just an amateur dude, and I mean, I know my opinion is worth something, but I'm not saying that, but that's my hesitancy to make a critique, is like, well, what do I know about, about that stuff? I'm still learning.
I think in that situation, though, you shouldn't feel bad about offering it, because the person who has the image up there, they say, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Or even now you're making me think of, even as a dialogue, you said, well, did you think about doing it this way, or,
Yeah.
It would be more discussion that way.
But the beauty of art is the interpretation of each individual. And even as an artist, I gain often a perspective on a piece of art that I created that I didn't see, that a viewer saw.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm always, I mean, we don't like to hear, boy, that's shit, but we, but,
That's
you know,
harsh.
But I've heard it.
it's a little hard, but, it's nice to have, to either have some validation, which is, but with validation has to come learning too, so
Yeah.
I think it's great. It doesn't bother me if somebody tells me, their opinion on my work. It means they looked at it.
Yeah.
So,
And I think
anyway,
all of
that's my
us,
2 cents. I'm running out of money.
all of us have learned and have been around, and I think learning makes our skin thicker. So I think we can take it now. When I was just starting out, if anybody had said, well, you could have made that a little less overexposed or something, I would have been crushed. Now I would say, you're darn right, but it helped me figure out, and I would take it differently now.
Or how do I fix it?
Yeah.
Well, is getting to the EXIF data difficult for some? I mean, do you know how to do it? Do you know how to get there?
You can do it, I think.
Well, I know somebody that used to be in this chair that could.
Yeah.
I'm using a different system,
Oh, okay.
and I can get to it, but I don't think I can get to it without wiping the screen clear and then pulling the photo up one at a time,
Yeah.
and that doesn't work. But if you want help on EXIF data, holler at somebody, and maybe we need to do a tips and tricks on that.
Right.
It's an easy system. Now, Timothy, he's going to have to keep his on a notebook because you're doing more digital now, aren't you, Timothy, than you used to? But still,
Yeah,
a lot of it's film.
I'm gonna go back to film. As you all know, I'm one-eyed. I lost my eyesight a decade ago in my right eye. My vision's slowly deteriorating in the final eye. But I'm having cataract surgery probably early April. I've been reluctant to do it, and so has my doctor, because we wanted to wait until it got bad enough that I needed it, because, it is the only eye. I'll be blind for 18 hours after it. So I'm gonna be going back to film. I'd like to go back to film, but I don't shoot it now as often because it's hard for me to focus.
Yeah.
So that, I rely on the digital camera. So back to your original question, I am doing more digital camera, and I didn't renew my subscription to Lightroom because I just don't, as I mentioned earlier, I don't use it very much. I don't alter my photos very much. If I do it, it's contrast. But so yeah, I mean, I'd like to do more film. I hope to do more.
Yeah.
film.
Again, if you want help with it, we'll either do a tips and tricks with it or do it one-on-one or one-on-two or whatever. So
If you're using a cell phone, it's available there too. And
Yes.
sometimes it's really interesting to see what the phone itself shows.
Yeah.
And when you're in, like just Windows, and you pull it up, there's a little circle with an eye up on the top. You press that, gives you everything that you need.
That's what it is with Apple too.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So,
Yeah, same icon.
it's there if you just know where to look. Okay, Stephen?
Yeah, I sent some of the folks, just because I happen to have your emails, a bunch of pictures. And a couple of reasons for that, but relative to what we're saying, it had seemed to me that if we were putting photos online for each other to look at, there was a way in which we could comment on them. It might be a way for people to spend a little more time thinking about it, for people to be able to individually look at a piece of work, or if they wanted to download it and re-photo process it, if they had ideas about, I think maybe this or that might help. Here, let me show you what that looks like. the method of sending it, which was what I was initially kind of interested in, I was trying to send pictures to people and found that there are newer kind of very draconian limits in Google how big of files you can send. So you end up having to send very low resolution files, which look fairly crappy by the time you get them blown up on a screen. The method I was using, which I mentioned because it's free and it might be something that would be useful to everybody, is through Amazon Photos. Their deal is if you're a member of Prime, you have unlimited storage. But for our purposes, more importantly, what you can do is you can send as many photos as you want to people who can respond back individually and who can add their own photos to it. So if I sent, let's say we were doing something on candlelight, for example, so we took that for the month and said, okay, how about, posting your pictures on candlelight. If you had my email and a link, you just put them on top of there, and then everybody would have them for nothing. And you could do whatever you wanted to with them. You could download them, change them, comment on them. And the way that's set up, each page comes with a photo, but comes with a comment page included also. So there's an obvious and easy way of people commenting on them. But the nice thing in terms of quality is you can send them at full resolution, and there's no limit on the resolution or how many folks you can send, because you're not actually sending the pictures, you're sending a link, which would allow you, say in my case, to simply go into my catalog on Amazon, or anybody else's that wanted to, in that sharing, they would create a collection that was for that sharing collection for the next so on and so forth. But it would be a way in which we could exchange pictures at whatever resolution we wanted to, and work on the photos if we wanted to post-processing. And, everybody could see what everybody had to say about anybody else's work. I emphasize again, you don't have to be a Prime member to do that. There's no charge involved with it anywhere along the line I've been able to discover. But it seemed like a possibility that was worth bringing up.
You can do that with Google Photos as well. The
You
same process.
can, but there's a limit on what size of file you can send.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
There's a limit now on the size of the files that you can
I
send.
send them full resolution.
Yeah, I guess when I was just looking at that, and maybe I'm missing the point on that because I was wanting to consider that. And what they were saying was a 25 meg limit. And then they were going to turn them into links. And what seemed to be the case, initially I sent some with Google, was that if the person was a member of Google, they would get the links, but they would also get the pictures. But if they were not a member of Google, they would only get the links. And I'm no expert on this, but just my experience with it was that I was going to end up sending people links that they had to open one at a time, and it was a pain. That way.
Well, let me add another thing. I can't remember whether I created it on Flickr or on Facebook. Within our group online on Chatham InFocus, there is a way of creating a file for special photographs. And I set one up for birds. Nobody's ever posted to it. And we're running out of time, but let me tag just one other thing. There are a lot of people in this group that are looking at photos on Flickr, on Chatham InFocus, both on Flickr and Facebook. You can see how many people have looked at those photos. You can see who they were, if they like it or react to it in some way. But what is an absolute drought on all of those pages is people are not making comments. I mean, we're putting up photos that one another can see, and nobody's commenting, or the comments are rare. So there's another thing to get engaged. And I'd urge people to not only look at the photos, you can get a free Flickr account, Doesn't cost anything to be on Facebook, although it's not a great platform, but
I have one comment, in reaction to what you're saying. I think there is value in the group as a whole, together, looking at something for the first time and reacting to it and hearing what one another have to say, versus people getting, say, a sneak peek ahead of time and making their judgment and their comments, and the photographer going back and changing it based on that. I'd rather have us all see it at once and have a collaborative discussion about it.
Yeah, I guess what I was saying, you know, that was the reservation I had about what I was suggesting, that there's a value in the group being able to look at something together. And I guess my thought about that was that there's also value in getting the comments, and one could do both. With regard to, you know, why aren't people posting, I will confess, I didn't know there was such an account. So I haven't posted there because I was unaware of its existence in the first place. You know, one of the pluses of this, and probably with Google also, is it is coming directly to the person. But, you know, do I think it ought to take the place of doing a group focus on things? No, I don't. Do I think it might be a way for people to give people more individualized, thoughtful feedback? Yeah, I think that's a possible thing. And, you know, neither do I think it's something that everybody has to do the same thing on, which is one of the nice things about being able to individualize it. That, you know, there might be the people who say, gee, I'd like that, you know, how about, you know, whoever wanted to do that could, and they could drop in or drop out depending on what mood they were in. But no, I think it would be a terrible mistake to try to not have, you know, the group looking at things. But I think it might be a nice thing to have people give a chance to let me think about that for a day or two and tell you what I think.
Or they could be pictures that are not that week's challenge.
Right, because
They could
people,
be other
whatever,
pictures,
I've
because I
got
think
these
it takes
photos,
away.
yeah.
Yeah, I would rather see you do
Yeah.
that.
Flickr does notify you if you have said that you're following someone, then Flickr will notify you that they put a picture up.
Yeah.
And so Lynn and Mike have been putting things up, and I've been getting
They
that.
or if they comment on
Yeah,
it all.
Yeah, and the other option, the other nice thing about Flickr is I put a picture up one day of the Greek Orthodox Church, and the next day, some association of Greek Orthodox churches said, they wanted it. So,
Wow.
I don't know, all of these things seem that each one have pluses, and we ought to probably sit down and study them. Study yours, study Flickr. I'm not on Facebook, but, let's kind of compare as a group and see the options and learn what's out there, each one of them.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of ways of doing it, and I just think, you know, because we're kind of trying to show each other things, we like each other's feedback about it.
Yeah.
We ought not to pass up online kind of opportunities.
It's almost 12 o'clock.
well, there's some good things being discussed, and I don't want to put that down. Frank, I mentioned the road trip that you brought up with the exhibit in Greensboro. Was that you? I think it was. Yeah.
Winston-Salem?
Cunningham.
Yeah,
Oh,
Winston-Salem.
Oh, Larry.
That was Ronaldo.
Oh, okay.
Imogene Cunningham has.
Okay, I'm sorry, Larry. I'd forgotten who it was.
Has an exhibit that they're hosting at the Ronaldo Museum. I think it goes until June 2nd.
Yeah, so,
And she does mostly black and white, I think exclusively black and white.
yeah, and probably all film,
Right.
given her age or when she started. But let's not let that slip through the crack, because I think that would be an
Yeah.
interesting thing to do. And I mentioned it at our last meeting, but we'll make sure we bring it up again really soon.
And the flowers are coming out, so April would be
Yeah.
the perfect time
Yeah.
or something like that.
Bill, do you have anything today?
Well, I was gonna have something, but we're running awful late.
Yeah, we have about 30 minutes to do 18 photos.
Because, you know, what I was gonna talk about was firmware, something that I don't think we've ever brought up amongst us. Because, you know, cameras have become more electronic than it was, you know, mechanical in the old days. So, just like your computer, every so often you'll see that there's updates. It's gonna make it perform a little better, little security, things like that. Well, our cameras are the same way. You know, there are firmware updates that may add functions to your camera. It may improve certain functions to your camera. So what you need to do every so often is maybe go out to your manufacturer's website and just say, you know, to look up some firmware. Because there's a perfect example. Susan has a camera, a Canon G7X2 she has. They came out with a new model, the Mark III. People had all kinds of problems with focusing on it. Well, what Canon found out is, oops. And what they did is they did a firmware update, and now it's terrific. And this happens with all the cameras, you know, the more modern cameras right now. Like with Stephen and I, we just got the Z8 update. Ours not only just made little improvements, it made leaps. It gave us functionality of the upper level Z9. It gave us functions that were only in one of the other models. So, you know, we can do things like what they call pixel shifting, which is taking multiple images and the sensor on the inside moves just a little bit between each image and creates a high resolution image. This was on one of the models, the ZF. We now have bird detection that came from the Z9. We have things called auto capture, where you can actually set your camera up. Say if you're by a birdhouse, and when a bird comes in there, you want to get to take a picture of it. You can tell it from what direction, you can tell it any direction. I mean, the functionality is just absolutely crazy. And they've even put little things in it, like, what do you want your shutter to sound like? Because the Z8s don't have shutters. So, you know, it's these kind of things. And often it's just these little tweaks. Sometimes it's with focusing. I saw one update on one camera that it couldn't use certain lenses before, so they updated it. Now you could use, you know, a different set of lenses and things like that. So if you go out to your manufacturer, like if you just go to Sony USA, go into their website, look under support or software, firmware, and it'll tell you for your model if there's any updates out there and if they're significant. And they'll have the steps on being able to update it as well.
Okay.
And the other thing just to remember about the newer mirrorless cameras, we don't go by, the battery life is no longer by shutter count. It is now an electronic device. As we use a mirrorless camera, it's constantly using energy. It's not like the DSLRs where, you know, it only uses a little bit of energy now and then when you take a picture. When that camera is on, it's on. So, you know, so you have to learn energy management instead of shutter count. And at that point, I would shut up.
You're gonna run out of battery.
Well, the manufacturer sometimes will send you a notice that there's new firmware too, so.
Never had that.
I'm very mindful of time barriers. Do you think, and my idea about when we should be finishing is about 12:30. Maybe that's too restraining, but I know that some folks today have to get out of here a little bit early. Do you want to go ahead and see what we can do with 18 photographs?
Sure.
Okay. We'll get started. And just a second. Well, how'd I do that? All right, Chuck.
Okay. So this is an image. The way I came to think about this image was a tip from my wife, actually. She was doing something over in Bynum, and I had mentioned to her that our photo challenge was candlelight. And actually, when I first thought about how to capture images for candlelight, I was thinking literally setting a candle someplace, but then I came to realize, well, maybe it's the lighting itself. But this one is kind of along my first line of thought. And even though they're electronic, obviously, or electric, when I got there about a week after she told me she saw this and where it was, I scouted it out during the daylight, and so came back with my tripod and was ready to photograph. And unfortunately, there was a soccer game going on the ball field behind him. But it kind of adds to it a little bit, and it's kind of mysterious looking, and that's what I like about it. And there were telephone or utility wires overhead, and I had to that kind of helped me dictate my perspective where I was going to shoot from, as well as trying to block some of the bigger lights that would be right into the lens of the camera. But anyway, this is shot at ISO 1600, 27 millimeter for the focal length, and pretty much wide open, 3.5 f-stop, and it was a 2-second exposure. And I didn't mess with it too much. In post, I changed a few values, like a little bit of the, not saturation, the other one, the hue? Yeah, the hue. No, well, actually,
Contrast?
no, didn't do much with the contrast either. I did change the white balance a little bit, so it was very blue, and I added more red to it a little bit, slid it along the scale a little bit. And what I like about it is that I got a pretty good focus on it, but I'm regularly bumping into the limits of my camera, and I just don't have, with higher ISOs, just don't have the clarity that I'd like to have at some point, but so we'll see.
That's awesome, Chuck.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Beautiful. How many images did you shoot that night?
Probably shot about 10 or 15, different versions of it,
It's a good percentage.
and yeah, I figured, well, I don't think I'm going to see any other ways. And, I changed a few settings just to make sure. I didn't change the ISO. I think I changed more of the framing of it than I changed anything else.
What did I do?
I just tried to join and screwed it up, and I'm exiting, I'm getting out of this. There you go, I'm gone.
Wow,
But
geez.
somehow you popped your email up there.
Yeah.
Oh, did you drag it? No, oh,
Yeah, I'm trying.
If you go all the way up to the top, I think you can.
No, there's, what's
That's
that
not
do?
it. If you go push it all the way up.
All right.
okay.
Chuck, I'm back and forth on the red ball. Whether that is help to, red's one of those things that's a magnet, and I see that, and it was an attention getter, but is that what you really want?
That's a good point. And in fact, I think I made it worse when I changed the white balance.
It popped it up, didn't it?
Popped it out even more. And the other thing I did try to do, and I'm not sure I was too successful of it, using my super wide angle lens, I did change the perspective, like the distortion, but ultimately I was pointing my lens upward, kind of uphill. So there's more perspective distortion than I would like on the left side of those trees there.
But it is a good shot. It really is.
Oh, thanks.
You know what, I think all of those things hanging in the tree are a distraction. I just love
You like it? I know, I almost had that thought, it's like, well,
Yeah.
the rest of it's more dramatic than.
Yeah, it's so mysterious and
Yeah.
I think it's terrific. I mean, it's also
Yeah.
not a problem, but it's like, I want to see that shadow on the front, so
Yeah, that came out,
mysterious.
nicely too, I like that effect, yeah.
You had a number of different light sources here too to contend with.
Yeah,
Because you see that there's incandescent at the back in the house, and the lights are different. There's
those
a
are some big.
ray of light, spotlight that probably came through, they're probably all different temperatures. And
Yeah,
It's really cool.
All right, man and his dog.
so this one, so what I did was, I was thinking, okay, I think that I'll try to go, I like taking pictures outside, so rather than use candlelight inside, which would be a natural thing to do, too, I thought, well, I think my backyard, I think that, I tried one version, in my backyard, and I didn't like it so well, so I was thinking, well, that cedar tree is a dead cedar tree, would make a nice background, and I won't have any neighbors' lights or houses showing in here. And so what I did was have a pool of water with lots of little, I think 6 different tea candles setting in it. So that was my light source, and I tried, again, about, I don't know, 15 images or shots, and this is cropped. I was setting the shots up so that it included the candle, which, it's kind of cool, you get that starburst effect. But I just thought this was a more definitive photograph, and it was focusing on the light itself, and it's kind of soft. The focus on me is kind of soft. I think my pant leg is probably, I was just looking, is probably the most in focus. So I was setting it up, beforehand, and it might have missed a little bit on the focus, but also it's a high ISO, it's 1600 again, 16 millimeter lens this time, f2.8, so super wide open, and this is a 3-second. Oh no, I'm sorry, 1600 27 millimeter, 3.5. So this is my kit lens, and it's 2 seconds.
It's a great shot.
It wasn't as wide angle as the other one, and I just really like the golden aspect of my boy Fozzie there. He's as I said, he's my model a lot of times. So I don't know who else to use. And there's lots of there's light coming from other sources. That's like those shadows on the tree or from neighbors' lights and stuff. And but anyway, I like the blue sky behind it with
That's terrific.
The gold there.
Another thing I like is the way your dog is looking in a different direction.
Yeah.
That's why I
Did he
named
catch
it.
something out there?
Yeah, I named it. Who's that? Or what's that? What's
Yeah,
that?
what is that?
What's that?
Yeah.
So did you make the sky that blue, or was it that blue?
That's the way it showed, and I didn't change the white balance any, and I photographed that part of my yard before, and that's what the camera sees typically.
I think it's just brilliant, the way you set it up, the way you thought of it, the way you envisioned it before it happened. I think that really shows in the final image. So
Thanks,
so
yeah,
thought
and I did, as I said, I did, it was a process, I came to it after, trial and error, so that's always the key, I guess.
That's a great thing about digital, it doesn't cost you anything.
I can't tell from here, but the sky seems grainy, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know if
it
it
is.
would be worth working on that and getting the graininess out.
I mean, I've tried to do noise
Oh, shoot.
reduction,
Sorry.
and I just, it doesn't, I can't see any difference with the software that I use, Elements, I can't see any
But that
difference.
kind of light, don't you want it kind of soft? I mean,
Yeah, I don't think it makes
Yeah.
any difference, I think it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, there's some stars up there.
Yeah, you could say.
Yeah, so the other versions, there were more stars, which I like that, but I felt it was not as good a composition when I included the stars.
Did you say, Chuck, what was the light? What was the light source that you were?
The golden light is from candles.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's from that, so that's
That's pretty
that made it
powerful.
the theme.
And really tiny ones.
It was six tea candles, like floating in a pool, like a bird bath pool. Yeah,
That is.
got some reflection off the water.
Yeah,
Help.
that's true.
yeah, I think there was that, and then
Definitely.
How many candles?
6.
Oh, I thought you said 16. I thought
Oh,
you
no,
said-
no.
No, that's
6,
the birthday
and I was,
party.
And I experimented to make sure they wouldn't sink and burn out, so they seem to work. And they're cheap in the dollar store.
All right, Susan's up next.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, so
Real nice.
This is, yeah, it's a Frank Lloyd Wright style candle holder. Yeah. So anyway, so let's see, Mike, which one is this? Is this 67556 or 65773?
I don't know.
Okay, well, okay, I'm gonna describe.
It was on the original file, but I changed the name.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna give you exit information, and it may be for the wrong picture. But this is what I.
Well, here's the other one.
Okay, and go back to the.
Okay.
Okay, so this one, I ended up doing shutter priority. I was playing around shutter priority, aperture priority. It's f4, 1/125th of a second. And what happened was that the ISO was automatic, and it was 25,600. So what I realized when I looked at the picture is that there was a lot of noise in the reflection. And so I used the editing software to take away all the noise. And I also messed with the making it darker and sharpening. So I did do, and I propped it, of course.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, Susan, that you didn't blow out all of that. But you can see the seam at the back corner, the top center, I guess.
Yeah.
You can see the seam running up there, and
Expect to see that one on the wall.
yeah, that like I said, that you didn't blow anything out. It's just, and the shadows are a big part of the picture.
There's a little bitty, what do you call those little tea candles inside, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which lens did you use?
It's just the 18mm kit lens
Oh.
on my.
I don't know if it's possible with the way the light's reflecting, but the light that's in that upper left corner,
Yeah,
to me, detracts a little
You
bit.
could take it out.
Yeah,
okay, I'll
if
take
it
it.
would just,
Do a spot dark.
I mean, just take out the.
that
I really
upper
like
left
that
corner.
idea.
Because without that, it would almost be like a perfect star
Exactly.
around the box.
You could almost bring it in on that corner. You know.
Yeah,
Crop
that's
it a
true.
little
You could
bit.
just use a clone tool and go over it too, and just keep it the same size.
I think it would be a stronger picture that way.
Yeah.
Just get rid of the upper left.
I really like it because I thought it made it feel like the thing was gonna go on and on and on.
Yeah, I like that upper left
Yeah.
because it seems mysterious, like what else is going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good picture.
Yeah, this is really nice.
Well, the fact that
Beautiful.
the light is on the diagonal, I think is great.
What is it? What are we looking at?
We're looking at a
Candle
candle holder that's like a Frank Lloyd Wright style design, and it's
Uh-huh.
not that big, and then there's a tea candle inside it.
Is that an outdoor candle or do you use it
Thank you.
inside?
It's just like a little.
Inside,
Okay.
and it's not very big, it's only like this big,
Uh-huh.
so it's really tiny.
Beautiful. Really looks
Um,
nice.
So this one was, okay, so this one was aperture priority, FA, 20 per second, and again, the ISO was 25,600, so I had to, reduce the noise a lot on the reflections. And I
What was
also,
the exposure time? What was the shutter, the speed?
the shutter speed was, 1/8 of a second.
Hmm.
And, this one also, lots of noise, noise reduction, black, change the black, change the white, sharpened it.
So did you take the noise down with the software?
I just reduced all the noise, in other words, these were shot raw,
Yeah.
and so what I did was, when you process the picture, I moved the noise as far away as I could to try to get it away, because if you actually look, I mean, that, where the reflection is.
This is great.
Yeah, the first one is great, and this one is just so different.
Right. The thing that makes the first one stand out is that star, you know, those
Yeah,
shadows
yeah,
going
the
on,
reflection, yeah, we get the whole thing.
and the color of those.
But see, then when you look at this one, you can see where those reflections are coming from versus the first one where you don't actually see it. But again, I think the beauty of it is it's not always about the technical and your final image so much as it is about the thought that you had creating the image. You know, as a working photographer, I find that a lot. Someone will say, I need which is why these assignments are so great, because someone will come to you and say, well, I need a photo of whatever, and you kind of got to figure out how to do it. I recently did a CD cover where the album was going to be called Wanderlust or something, and I spent 3 weeks figuring out how to set it up. And so I think that's half the work, and I think you did a great job of even thinking about that. Beautiful.
All right.
Great.
I'm going to skip up to Larry, because I know you still need to leave by 12:30. Okay, well, I'm going to skip up so we don't miss it. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to give these away.
So, right, I went straight with the subject. Yeah. And,
I keep wanting to see a cat behind those eyes.
yeah, the candle holders, I had trouble with that. I didn't know what to do, so I just left them in there. So this is a 24 millimeter kit lens, the f4 115, and ISO of 100. And it was manual. So the reason I did it that way is because I saw something online saying that that's the way you're supposed to do it. So I try to follow exactly what the description was. And then I also enhanced it with a flashlight, because the candles weren't really producing that much. And then I have a blackboard that I had behind it, so I tried to avoid any kind of reflection.
Yeah.
But I did pick up a reflection off the candle holders, so it looks a little bit odd. But anyway, the lights at least were crisp. So.
I think it looks better when you zoom in.
Yeah, and you said ISO 100?
Yeah, I said ISO 100 because that's what they suggested.
I wrote the same thing.
Tripod?
Oh,
It's interesting, like, there's no shadow cast, or
Yeah.
it's like, it's really interesting that you just see the light, the candlelight, exactly that, and no shadows.
yeah. So
That might be a good idea for a
I used
crop.
a blackboard underneath, and then I said it. Yeah, that's the way it came out. I was surprised too.
This one, Larry, might be interesting if you cropped it so it was portrait, not landscape, and just one candle and closer up.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, there's still good detail in those.
Plain.
Yeah.
Just drop it down to that size.
Yeah. Or even just one of them. Okay.
That's the beauty of shooting wide angle, being able to crop it.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Rather than going back up and start back down again, I'm going to go up. This may put some of them out of order, but we'll deal with it. That means, Tom, you are up.
Okay. Can you make it any bigger?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Anyway, so that's, I guess, decrease it, Mike.
I'm trying.
Oh, okay, there you go. So, I took this a while ago, and when I live in the woods, and so I tend to see things that are up close, and I find things like this in trees to be fascinating. And then I just composited in the candle.
Is this?
You weren't burning down the woods then?
I'm sorry?
So you weren't burning down the woods?
No, this was the background for the keyboard last time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, this is, I have thousands of things like this. I like what Alice said, Tom takes pictures of odd things in the woods, and that's kind of what I do. This wound is particularly beautiful, if you could see it get right up to it.
And here's another case for putting a border on them, especially when it's black on black.
So what did you do to enhance the light? The light,
Yeah.
The light on the bark around it is
White light on it.
it's a different source.
Yeah, I used an exterior light source
Okay.
in software.
Oh, you did it in software?
Yeah,
Yeah, but there must have been something that you were working with, like, so.
It was an
just
it
natural,
was an exterior shot, and you know, it's all woods, and I just eliminated the woods.
Okay,
Daylight.
so it was daylight,
Yeah,
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 that's cool.
yeah, and so then I added a light source from the outside, just because I like the way it looked.
I also like how the candle looks like an organic part of the tree.
Well, I spent a lot of time working on that, to try to, I wanted it to feel like it was burning in the tree.
Yeah, but
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So did you have a
Yeah.
picture of the candle?
Yeah,
Separate-
yeah, that I took separately, just on the kitchen table.
Okay. He never disappoints.
That's great.
Yeah, I like. So I don't know, Tim, I love it how you're talking about setting things up and thinking of everything, and I don't know how this happened. I love that character, maybe everybody knows that character at Chatham, at the Country Farm and Home.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's a full-size, I guess that's a gorilla.
Where is it?
Country Farm and Home,
it's like a Planet of the Apes girl.
Yeah.
It's like an intelligence.
yeah,
Super intelligent.
she's beautiful, she's great. Anyway, I've always liked her and visit with her. And then I was thinking, well, you know, candles, what about birthday? I don't know how it happened. And I went out and bought a cupcake, that thing cost $4, you know. And I stuck, and at first I thought I could make it look like she was blowing out the candle.
Yeah.
But then I saw that her eyes were going off at the person holding.
Yeah, you got catch lights in the eyes.
I don't think that's a female.
Oh, it's a female, you have to see the hairdo.
But look at the beard.
It's definitely a female.
But it has a
But, what?
Yeah, but look at
Has a
that bicep.
beard.
Oh, beard? Oh, well. Anyway,
It's androgynous, it makes it more mysterious.
there was one, oh, I know, the title of it is, I'm gonna eat you. I think she doesn't care about the cupcake, she wants to eat the photographer.
It's like, for me? For me?
So how was the cupcake?
I gave it to the guy who was holding it.
I go
All right.
all the time, I didn't realize that, I said, look for her.
Oh, yeah, she's very.
The only thing is that in that top left corner, if there's any way of blocking out that.
You think that interferes?
Yeah.
You know, my eye kind of, you know.
Okay,
kind of
okay.
goes off, if there was ever, just darken it, or.
Yeah, good, okay.
Yeah, and Tom, if you want somebody to help you do that, just let us know, okay?
What, eat the cupcake?
No, the background,
Um,
the background.
Teasing about the cup, yeah, manipulating the image.
All right,
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, that's true, there would be blocking it.
thanks, Tom.
Great.
Now we're up to Frank.
What I did was I used one of the videos that Bill sent out the week before. And so I read it, you know, went through it. So I tried this, it was in a dark room. I had a black screen behind the candle and the smoke. And it was my Canon, it was taken on 110 millimeter, 1/15 of a second, f5.6, and I had it at ISO 100. The only thing I did do is I took that light I have and put it down on the lower left side, shining up to kind of illuminate it a little more. And once I blew out the flame, I had to take multiple shots with the camera because I wanted to try to capture it with the red ember still glowing. And yeah, the ones I did, most of them were gone, but this one did stay.
And then get back to the camera, I imagine, after blowing it out.
I know, had to run fast. The only problem in hindsight, which I hadn't done, was that I had used a faster shutter speed, because I got back there and then it would take a second before it would click again, you know. if it was like a rapid shutter, I probably would have gotten a better image.
I think you achieved your goal.
Well, I got the red that I wanted, that was,
Yeah.
that I was glad about.
Yeah.
And the only processing was I reduced the shadow so you couldn't see the screen, and upped the clarity, which made the smoke stand out. But it's just still a little blurry, I'm gonna try it again some other time.
Looks pretty sharp.
Yes, nice shot.
I think it's a great idea too.
I did a lot.
Did anybody see the face in there?
Now, this, I tend to take objects and put them in weird positions, and, I had this a candle wheel in the garage, and it was just a round wheel with 6 candles coming out of it. So I put that up, and I said, I don't know, something in the center would probably help. So I found this Halloween decoration and put that in the center of it. And again, I did it the same spot where I did that other candle. It's got a black screen behind there. And then this was shot at 200 millimeter. Well, that doesn't sound right. I think I was closer than that. 1/8 of a second, f7.1, ISO 100. So I just wanted to get that reflection off of the jack-o'-lantern's head there. And the only drawback I have with, I think, the candles, maybe if I went with a higher f-stop or lower, I would have gotten more of them in focus. But
Pretty sharp.
it really looks in focus, the 2N ones.
Well, and I think the fact that the,
Pretty shallow.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the especially the back candles are fuzzy, that helps tell you what the focus is.
Yeah.
The only thing there is there's a little bit on the right side, there's that little orange thing, and then on the left side, top of the candle. I guess I'd try to get both of those things.
Besides a ring, there are little figures around it. There's like a goat,
Ah,
Yeah.
a dog, and let's say a cat, and I didn't want them in there, but it was hard to keep them out.
yeah.
But I love the way that back tall candle is glowing the orange of the wax.
Yeah.
It's you can truly see that light is bright behind that thin wax.
But also the jack-o'-lantern is so clear.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
orange, that really.
Because that's what I focused directly on his face, on the eyes.
Well, he's also got great lighting around him,
Yeah,
right? I mean, he's got light everywhere for him.
yeah, he's a circle, completely around him.
Did you have, anything to keep the reflection down, because that central figure is so
No,
slick that I would have thought that the light would have reflected and kind of been blown out.
no, I didn't do anything else with it, other than, just put him right dead center.
Wow.
And then I had to play around with like swiveling them, so I get all 6 candles in, to some degree.
I was just wondering if you thought about a composition where that candle on just to the left of it, I think it's in front, if you did it without that one there, I find it distracting,
Yeah,
sort of,
okay.
even though on.
The one in front, right?
On the
Yeah.
left or right?
The left
Just
of
to the left of the jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah, because he's kind of out of step.
Yeah, and it's easy, I could have pulled that out, you wouldn't see the stand at all.
Even though, as Tim said, I really like the color of the wax on that
Yeah.
one, so it's just a thought, and, but, yeah, I like it, as it is.
Yeah,
For accomplishing the assignment, you did.
Yeah.
You got candlelight.
Yeah.
so I got a pass fail on.
Okay, folks, we're only halfway through. I hate to cheat anyone out of a good amount of time for talking about these. We can hold them to the next meeting, or we can forge ahead. Does anybody else need to leave? You do, Linda? Do you have time if I go down to those immediately?
Yeah.
Are we okay with that?
Yes,
Yeah.
always.
And do you post them on the Facebook page or anywhere?
I don't,
Okay.
but it could,
And then also you can, the YouTube recordings is available about 5 days after the meeting.
Uh-huh. Okay.
that's Stevens, okay.
After the fact, but I haven't done it, I have been slack on that.
Okay, these next two are are Linda's.
And they're, the deep dark past,
Yeah.
the little girl on the left, is waiting to hear which college she's getting into. It has been a while, and, that's interesting, it looks so different on the screen in terms of.
Well, and it's not quite as, it's a little sharper, I mean, a little brighter.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see my computer, but
Well, again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
produce a lot of light.
Yeah, it looks on the computer, it looks more like what it looks like on my computer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm afraid I don't have any. I said, I don't know what happened to my pictures, but I got a new computer transferred over all of the old pictures. And suddenly, you know, when I tried sending them to you, it said there's no information here. I ended up copying the picture and pasting it in, but there was no ISIP, there was no picture.
oh, well, I think I shared with you time before last maybe that I had a whole card go bad.
Yeah.
And portions of a card can go bad too. So it may be that but there's also a way of getting it back.
There probably is, and I'm gonna work on that. But, yeah.
Back to the other one. It looks like there's something going out of the central character's head. I might have.
Oh.
There's a doll back there.
Yeah.
My eye went to that, so it might be,
Yeah.
since it's an odd doll, I'd say maybe.
That's called a merger. Seriously, that's a merger. You know, like this behind somebody's head, that's a merger.
I like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not a candle, it's a sparkler, but I thought it was in the.
It's in the same family.
It's in the same family.
Yeah.
And that backlight is orange enough to look in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was, you know, pitch black out, and, except for the light coming from the house. So I think she's illuminated by the sparkler.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like the sparks shooting out, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's really, it's interesting to get the color of the light on her face and the light in the house, and even some of the sky.
Yeah.
The sky behind it, was not, it was black, but that's the way it's photographed.
All right, thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Nice.
I'm gonna go backwards on these two, which means Stephen is next.
Oh.
Yeah, I like the orchids, I like the little lamps, I thought, well, let's put them together and see what they look like. Well, it was kind of fortunate that I had anticipated that I like the reflection of the lamp, you know, in a mirror, not in a mirror, but in a glass door. I know nothing about the exit data on this, if it's there, I'm happy for it to be shared. I don't pay much attention to it, I guess, since I started shooting mirrorless camera. I'm just looking at what I'm getting. And I know what's going to change there, so I know how to change there, if I don't know what I want. So it's what I do, I mean, I generally, shooting birds there, a lot of things in wildlife, you don't have a lot of time to change it. And my go-to setting is manual with ISO. And frequently that does fine as far as I'm concerned. I take a look, I don't like it, then I'll come back and do something in another direction. But what? Mostly I like the orchids, and I wanted to get a picture of them, and I thought, you know, getting them kind of a soft light was a little different.
Well, yeah, when I saw this, originally I said, really a nice still life. And I think that the orchids are the picture. And if you could have kept that light, but moved the lights out so that it was just the orchid and maybe the notebook at I guess that's a notebook.
Yeah,
The
I
bu-
like the notebook a lot.
Yeah,
Well, I think, if you didn't have that electronic light, that light gives it a very Renaissance light.
Yeah.
Very,
yeah, you'd want to keep that lighting.
yeah.
Is that in front of a mirror?
It's in front of a glass door.
Mm,
Oh,
That
okay.
explains, because that light on the left, it looks like it's moving.
Yeah.
So it must be the reflection.
yeah,
Double painting.
Yeah, doubled up.
It looks like a painting, it's beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
really nice. And this is the one, Stephen, that we thought we had trouble with, but it was, I don't know, I can't explain what happened to it.
It's somehow in going through electronic space, I got a lot more sparkle around the flames than I had looking at it on my screen. And that persisted, I sent a second one when I looked at it, I said, but it came back that way to me. And I don't know why that was. It's all right, but I liked it better with the flames without so much sparkle around.
It's a nice picture.
It's a beautiful piece.
Good composition.
What is the menorah, is that base part of, there's the menorah and then there's the
Something around.
rectangular structure?
It's
I'm not
just,
familiar with that.
Sort of a glass table
Just-
that, kind of the idea with menorahs is traditionally you want to put them in a window somewhere.
Right, right.
And
So that's like kind of symbolic.
something that I thought kind of went with the,
Yeah,
with the menorah stand itself.
So the sparkle, if the sparkle wasn't there, would it be black behind them? If
More
black-
talking about this part of the kind of halo.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that, it adds to the mystery,
All right,
One of the
Two-
things that I guess occurred to me is maybe worth saying about this was that, it's not really what I wanted it to be. It was what I thought I wanted it to be at the time. I think Bill has recommended online photographer Simone D'Entremont.
Yeah.
And one of his suggestions, which I think is a really good one, that I ignored in this case, is you're going to do something with a picture, go away from it and come back to it.
Right, yeah.
Because you're going to, in this case, the whole thing is back and forth on the amount of glow and so forth, and eventually you get to something that the moment looks great. You come back half an hour later and say, why did I do that? But I think, if there's anything tricky going on, I find it helpful to walk away from it and come back later.
Yeah, I agree. I like to put my photos into a folder. Usually I use photos on my Apple machine, and then I just leave them alone and come back a day later, 2 days later, even 3 days.
They're not so bad.
Later, look at them again and change things or don't change things. Yeah.
Just a lot of
all
things from
right,
2019
Kathy.
Go back and look at.
Kathy, I'm gonna take these in order. This,
Yeah, I learned two things from this project. First of all, the iPhone is not gonna work, I'm gonna have to buy a camera. And I need to learn the software. I mean, I haven't done photography since film in school a long time ago. I also really can't tolerate the fumes from candles in the house, so took this lantern outside. I wanted to focus on texture and trying to get some reflections. What I would do with this, I'd be interested in input, is I actually like a lot of the blurring, but when I learn some software, I'd like to go in and crisp up some of those internal edges on the lantern. And I'd just be interested, because I do like this, the blurring to me creates a little bit of a motion, or which things obviously not in motion, but to me it makes it a little more dynamic. But I'd like to make it look more intentional if those edges on the lantern were crisp. And I'm just curious about what people think about that, or just, I'm with Helen, I want critique, not oh, I like it, or something like that. So,
Now, which, how did you using the software in the iPhone,
not,
or did you?
yeah, just, this is an iPhone at night,
Okay.
that's,
And which iPhone?
it's an iPhone 11.
Okay. Well, it's
Just
depth,
like
it's,
an iPhone 15, but just this alone, I was like, I need to get a camera. So,
it's a depth of field thing, and I don't know, I don't know if on an 11 or even on a 15, whether you can control that. I know you can with portrait mode on the 13, 14, et cetera. But that's why the top is, the f-stop was wide open, basically. And I don't know how
To change that.
you change that on
So
the
front-
phone.
Yeah, the front of the candle is, at the top is crisper than the back. And
Yeah.
so that's because it's such a short depth of field, yeah.
What is the point of view or lower? Instead of looking
I
down?
did take a whole lot of these at different angles and so on. I just ended up thinking this one picked up the texture, and I liked the distribution of the light.
Yeah, now look, this is the second one, and look how much sharper right in there this one is.
Well, you got a lot more exterior light helping you out. It's not as tight.
I think the top in focus as well as the bottom, that
Yeah.
would be,
I'm myself okay with the back of it being out of focus. I mean, people spend thousands of dollars on lenses just so they can blur the background.
That's what you were saying.
It's a really point.
You wanted to have the
The
top.
front I like better on this
crisp,
side
but
also.
maybe the
The
surrounding
object I like to be in
I'd
focus.
like,
softer.
I'd like
It
it
helps
if the
to me,
grid
you know,
work on the
focus
lantern
is
itself
bring
is
your
crisp,
attention to what you're.
and then it
Yeah.
makes it clear that it's deliberate, that the blurring is being left in deliberately. If you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I know of to achieve that is to have it a really sharp, photograph of the lantern, so that you have to choose an f-stop so that it would, and with the camera, not an iPhone, so
Yeah.
you could, make that really in focus, and then with software, you can blur.
Soften it.
Or a focus thing,
Yeah.
just on top of the lantern.
Well, and that's a good,
You can do selective sharpening or focus stacking.
I think on even on all of the more recent iPhones, and yours included, if you touch what you want to be in focus on the screen, it
Oh,
will,
really?
it will,
I didn't
Yeah,
know
if you
that.
tap it, once you have it, tap the subject, and it will focus.
yeah, and it may not have given you the whole depth of field, but
If you're taking a picture and so you have somebody and a lot going on,
Oh, I didn't know.
you get them and you tap on their face.
yes.
Screen, and
And try that, Kathy, because I think
Yeah,
your phone will do that.
okay.
Sunny is, C&H and Sunny are having a sale right now.
Okay.
commercial break.
All right, we have three more. Bob's is next.
There we go.
And-
So I wanted to build a little bit of a picture. I thought about what I could add to the candle and I
Yeah,
think-
right.
Now, that was iced tea down there at the bottom, right?
What's that?
The glass is iced tea?
That's not what I said, it was whiskey.
Oh,
And then, so then at the end, whether I liked it or not, I could have a drink.
That's right.
So,
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
seriously, Bob, this is a good shot. And then Tom, and as Timothy was saying, there was some thought in how to arrange it. And
Yeah, I started out, I won't go on very long, but I started out with a group of 20 tea candles, and I put that in a triangular shape, and that didn't look good. The tea candles wouldn't keep burning, and so I ditched that idea, and then I finally came up with this, and it was simple. I used the black and white poster board.
yeah,
I like the way the white goes to the black.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Nice contrast.
So I was at aperture.
Bye, Susan.
priority, F 4.0, ISO 11,400.
Wow.
35 millimeters and a 40th of a second.
So what did you use to illuminate it, like from the right side there?
So I was in one of the bathrooms, and I shut the light off.
The dark room.
But I had light coming in from the hallway.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
have the door closed all that. Oh, it was
Just
just
like
enough
that
light.
shadow coming off of the,
So I can picture
Okay.
it.
like a balance.
Bob in a bathroom with his candle, his
So Bob, did you hand?
Yeah, that's right.
Maker's Mark.
Oh, I just finished about all that. Good stuff. Did you handhold that, Bob? Since before you got a second, you probably did, right? Or did you use a tripod?
No, I handheld.
You handheld.
No room in the bathroom.
Yeah, that was before I had a drink.
Probably
so I
not.
could handhold it.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with the last two since the artist left.
Well,
Well, I see him.
Just see
Let's
it,
look at it.
just take a look at it.
All right, I hear her voice.
Oh, okay, she's on
Oh,
the
it's
phone.
Liz.
Lynn?
Jeez.
I think she's on a phone call.
I really like that one. Oh,
There it is.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
That's really nice.
Especially difficult.
Oh, it's good. Okay, wow, it's cool. It's a landscape. Yeah, I like the three formation.
It's a nice, still like plan.
great composition. Great place to have a canvas.
Yeah, flames are really, yeah. You can see the ember, the glow on the.
would have been interesting to see that with the, border.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because that color is so beautiful.
I'm sorry, Helen, what did you say? See if
Oh, I'm
it-
just saying that
Border.
if it had a border,
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate
And I
it.
wouldn't crop it. I think it looks good.
Yeah,
It was cropped a little bit, I think.
But with a child like this, most people will be tended to portrait crop.
I bet that's a,
right, but I
low-
like the landscape.
I bet that's a low ISO.
She had read that people were talking about the ISO 100. I
Yeah.
think that she had read an article about that and tried it at 100. Somehow it slipped over into auto, and the auto was much better than the 100.
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I read it on
$5,000.
Great, Lynn.
Let us know how it goes.
See you, Bill.
The composition you really like.
So like Larry, I read the same thing, that this was supposed to be an ISO 100, and I started with that, and I didn't like it. I did use a tripod, it was like an F4, and I think the ISO was 10,000,
Yeah.
so that's it.
But if you could put a little, just the tiniest rim of a border around it, that would be helpful, I think.
Yeah, black on black.
Put a border, like you've done with yours, you know?
Yeah, just a tiny,
Yeah.
10 pixels. Does it?
I don't think I understand what you're saying.
Put a frame around it,
Oh,
an electronic frame,
okay.
like Tom has done so often.
Yeah.
Since it's got a black background, it would delineate the portion that you really want people to see.
Okay.
How did you get the light to the left? Is that from the camera?
Yes, it's from the camera.
What,
So
yeah, what did
from
you
the
use for
camera,
what was your background?
a wall,
Yeah.
A corner.
a wall.
Oh, okay, so flat.
I had some assistance.
I would really like to say this is the last one, but it's not. There's one more.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Very nice.
So the same candles were in front of him, and
Uh-huh.
they were included in the first picture, in my first look at it. And then I changed it to portrait, and I liked it better without the candles showing.
Good
But-
picture.
That guy's really, really old.
He is, I think he's about 95.
Easy.
Who is it? Doesn't look like you.
Is it the same three candles that was your
The
last
same
one?
candles,
Yeah.
yeah.
Different
Those are the
place.
candles I had, so that's what I used.
You are great at
It's a very
portraits.
thoughtful pose.
You are
Mhm.
very good at portraits, very good, you're the best of the group.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yes, yes,
Anyway, that's it.
Very nice.
that's fabulous.
Much better looking than the gorilla.
Yeah, but the gorilla had a cupcake.
I'm turning this off.
Did you have to work a long time with the model to get him to calm down?
It was pretty, oh, and we did have a black board up behind it. So, all right, I'm turning this off.
All right, recording is stopped.